Okay, back at it. So, just because you get gaskets with your parts don't mean they fit. So this is the gasket that came with it. This is the one that fits. So you can either hog this thing out to fit, which probably won't happen, or you get the one that goes on there correctly like it's supposed to fit. So we'll go with that. Now this here is the rubber tip seal. Now these you want to make sure you don't rotate them in the body down there because you can tear them. So you just kind of let them drop down like that. Don't push on them too hard either. Okay, the other thing we got to do is we got to make sure that this here forked arm will work on the lever over here pretty good. Get the screw out of here. For some reason the screw doesn't want to come out of here. Just have goo or Loctite or something. Not sure what the reasoning is. Okay, now we want this here to work nice and freely. So you can see how you got a big gap right there on the top and it gets tied up in here. Now that's supposed to follow the same curve as the lower fingers are. But obviously you can see how this thing's bent way up. So what I do is I bend it back down. You have to try to bend it down the radius, which is just about impossible to do, so you do what you can. So I like to use a pair of flat blade pliers and just come in here and just kind of start trying to make the curve way back here and kind of bend it around as you go. Now, obviously you want it to be as even as you can make it, but in the real world you do as close as you can get. So you can see how that now has more of a curve to it now. So now you want to make sure that this fits up in there more evenly. See, it works better. Now the bottom two fingers are more important than the top one, so you want to try to make sure those are as round as you can in there in the way it works. Definitely no binding at all in here is what you're after. Okay, so we got that one squared up. Next thing you want to do is you want to look at your float pin here. Make sure it's not worn excessively and make sure the float arm itself is not excessively loose. They're pretty loose to begin with, but if the float's going so far side to side it rubs on your body here, float bowl, then it's not very good. Okay, so we got that there now. Now this is the later float bowl. It only takes one plug in it. Doesn't have a plug here and doesn't have a drain plug. So this one just takes the one that has the lever, has a shaft only on it. Okay, here's our new float. Okay, here's our new float. Now this guy here had this one in upside down. He put the nut on the big cutaway here and had it upside down like that, and the float was way low in the carburetor and barely even opened at all. The reason you got the big cutout is to make room for the lever up in here. The nut goes on the bottom. Now sometimes he's going there pretty hard, and this one here is included. So you want to make sure you support the float with your finger and then push it in. And see, it always breaks out a little bit off the float up in here, which is not the best, but it's just the way it goes. It's the way they make them. Okay, get that little piece of stuff has to be out of the way. So you got to work on that a little bit with your screwdriver and pocket knife, whatever you want to use. Okay, you just want to get the piece away that's blocking the threaded screw hole. Okay, I think we got most of it out of the way now. Okay, now the lever goes on there, and you put the screw in there also. Now they didn't have any kind of a lock on this or anything, so I'm going to go get me a little star washer to put on here, and give me a little bit of support on that lever. Be right back. Okay, going again. Okay, I got me a little star washer here, and this one here is too big for the screw, so the locking part doesn't really do anything, but it does support the actual lever, so it gives it something to hold it with. As you can see, someone's been slotting this lever out because they put it together wrong and they couldn't make it work. Now, if this does not tighten up against the float in here, then we have to come up with a little washer to go in here, which would be another star probably, go underneath to help hold it in. So we're going to see if we can save this thing. The aftermarket forks suck, so I don't want to reuse them. I don't like using them at all if I can avoid them. So I always try to use the old parts if I can. Now this here is not the original screw and nut piece, so we got to deal with it. Okay, looks like this might work halfway decent. The problem I'm running into right now is the nut is spinning on the backside here, so I can't get full torque. But right now I don't even know where I want this to be yet, because I have to put it together to find that out. Okay, so what I do is I put the needle and seat up in here first, make sure you got the gasket on there. Then you take the float, you drop it in here, and you hook the fork over the needle and seat there. And see how it just drops in the hole. Get this threaded over here. Jeez, none of these parts like each other at all. Bam. That did not work. Now if your float does not fit in the float bowl, you're going to have to make it fit. You can push down a little bit, but don't push too hard, you'll break it. Sometimes you got to grind this down a little bit, or you got to grind this over here a little bit. I usually like grinding the float bowl more than the float, but whatever it takes. Okay, so right now the threads in here, which look kind of so-so, are now becoming so crappy you can't do anything with it. So I'm going to go give me a tap. There it is. I'm going to re-tap this thing. So this here's the thread we got to duplicate, so I'll go find this out. So it looks like it's probably a 1/2 inch 13 would be my guess. So it's 7/16, so it's not, it'll be 7/16, so what is that, 14 I think? So maybe it's 16. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and re-tap the hole over here until this goes in. I don't want to force this in because you can gall this thing up and destroy it or break it. Then you'll really be screwed, so we'll cut out with the tap.